shadows remember you, sweet seeker. Step lightly. The library watches it. Cicero never forgets a scent.
Back so soon. Cicero and I have missed you, haven't we? Come, step closer. Let me look at you. Ah, yes, I see it clearly now. The dark clings to you. It knows what you've heard. And you've been dreaming of it, haven't you? The taste of blood, the rot of guilt, the hollow scrape of vengeance in the dark. Tonight we finish what we started, the tale of the Giaour, the infidel. The cursed outcast's journey continues through blood, loss, through the wet rot of vengeance. Hassan is dead, Layla avenged, and the Giaour cursed. He stalks towards an end as jagged as the blade that sealed his fate. His sins are many, but the best tales are written in blood. Wouldn't you agree? Now come, sit. Cicero and the spirits already know how this ends. But you don't. Not yet. Let's change that, shall we? How name ye yon lone Giaour? His features I have scanned before in mine own land. 'Tis many a year since, dashing by the lonely shore, I saw him urge as fleet a steed as ever served a horseman's knee. But once I saw that face, but then it was so marked with inward pain, I could not pass it by again. It breathes the same dark spirit now, as death were stamped upon his brow. 'Tis twice 3 years at summertide since first among our freres he came, and here it soothes him to abide for some dark deed he will not name. But never at our vesper prayer, nor ere before confession chair kneels he, nor recks he when arise incense or anthem to the skies, but broods within his cell alone, his fate and race alike unknown. The sea from Paynim land he crossed, and here ascended from the coast, yet seems he not of Othman race, but only Christian in his face. I'd judge him some stray renegade, repentant of the change he made, save that he shuns our holy shrine, nor tastes the sacred bread and wine. Great largesse to these halls he brought, and thus our abbot's favour bought. But were I prior, not a day should brook such strangers further stay, or pent within our penance cell should doom him there for aye to dwell. Much in his visions mutters he of maiden whelmed beneath the sea, of sabres clashing, foemen flying, wrongs avenged and Moslem dying. On cliff he hath been known to stand and rave as to some bloody hand fresh severed from its parent limb, invisible to all but him, which beckons onward to his grave and lures to leap into the wave. Dark and unearthly is the scowl that glares beneath his dusky cowl. The flash of that dilating eye reveals too much of times gone by. Though varying indistinct its hue, oft will his glance the gazer rue, for in it lurks that nameless spell which speaks itself unspeakable, a spirit yet unquelled and high that claims and keeps ascendancy. And like the bird whose pinions quake but cannot fly, the gazing snake, as if that eye and bitter smile transferred to others fear and guile. Not oft to smile descendeth he, and when he doth, 'tis sad to see that he but mocks at misery. How that pale lip will curl and quiver, then fix once more as if forever, as if his sorrow or disdain forbade him e'er to smile again. Well were it so. Such ghastly mirth from joyance ne'er derived its birth, but sadder still it were to trace what once were feelings in that face. Time hath not yet the features fixed, but brighter traits with evil mixed, and there are hues not always faded, which speak a mind not all degraded even by the crimes through which it waded. The common crowd but see the gloom of wayward deeds and fitting doom. The close observer can espy a noble soul and lineage high. Alas, though both bestowed in vain, which grief could change and guilt could stain. It was no vulgar tenement to which such lofty gifts were lent, and still with little less than dread on such the sight is riveted. The roofless cot, decayed and rent, will scarce delay the passer-by. The tower by war or tempest bent, while yet may frown one battlement demands and daunts the stranger's eye. Each ivied arch and pillar lone pleads haughtily for glory's gone. His floating robe around him folding, slow sweeps he through the columned aisle, with dread beheld, with gloom beholding the rites that sanctify the pile. But when the anthem shakes the choir, and kneel the monks, his steps retire. But yonder lone and wavering torch his aspect glares within the porch. There will he pause till all is done, and hear the prayer, but utter none. See, by the half-illumined wall his hood fly back, his dark hair fall, that pale brow wildly wreathing round, as if the Gorgon there had bound the sablest of the serpent braid that o'er her fearful forehead strayed. For he declines the convent oath, and leaves those locks unhallowed growth, but wears our garb and all beside, and not from piety, but pride gives wealth to walls that never heard of his one holy vow nor word. Lo, mark ye, as the harmony peals louder praises to the sky, that livid cheek, that stony air of mixed defiance and despair. Saint Francis, keep him from the shrine, else may we dread the wrath divine made manifest by awful sign. If ever evil angel bore the form of mortal, such he wore. But all my hope of sins forgiven, such looks are not of earth nor heaven. To love, the softest hearts are prone, but such can ne'er be all his own, too timid in his woes to share, too meek to meet, or brave to spare, and sterner hearts alone may feel the wound that time can never heal. The rugged metal of the mine must burn before its surface shine, but plunged within the furnace flame, it bends and melts, though still the same. Then tempered to thy want or will, 'twill serve thee to defend or kill. A breastplate for thine hour of need, or blade to bid thy foeman bleed. But if a dagger's form it bear, let those who shape its edge beware. Thus passion's fire and woman's art can turn and tame the sterner heart. From these its form and tone are ta'en, and what they make it must remain, but break before it bend again. If solitude succeed to grief, release from pain is slight relief. The vacant of bosom's wilderness might think the pain that made it less. We loathe what none are left to share, even bliss, 'twere woe alone to bear. The heart, once left thus desolate, must fly at last for ease to hate. It is as if the dead could feel the icy worm around them steal, and shudder as the reptiles creep to revel o'er their rotting sleep, without the power to scare away the cold consumers of their clay. It is as if the desert bird, whose beak unlocks her bosom's stream to still her famished nestling scream, nor mourns a life to them transferred, should rend her rash devoted breast, and find them flown her empty nest. The keenest pangs the wretched find are rapture to the dreary void, the leafless desert of the mind, the waste of feelings unemployed. Who would be doomed to gaze upon a sky without cloud or sun? Less hideous far the tempest's roar than ne'er to brave the billows more, thrown, when the war of winds is o'er, a lonely wreck on fortune's shore, mid sullen calm and silent bay, unseen to drop by dull decay. Better to sink beneath the shock than moulder piecemeal on the rock. Father, thy days have passed in peace mid counted beads and countless prayer, to bid the sins of others cease, thyself without a crime or care, save transient ills that all must bear, hath been thy lot from youth to age, and thou wilt bless thee from the rage of passions fierce and uncontrolled, such as thy penitents unfold, whose secret sins and sorrows rest within thy pure and pitying breast. My days, though few, have passed below, in much of joy, but more of woe. Yet still in hours of love or strife I've escaped the weariness of life. Now leagued with friends, now girt by foes, I loathed the languor of repose. Now nothing left to love or hate, no more with hope or pride elate. I'd rather be the thing that crawls, most noxious o'er a dungeon's walls, than pass my dull, unvarying days, condemned to meditate and gaze. Yet lurks a wish within my breast for rest, but not to feel 'tis rest. Soon shall my fate that wish fulfill, and I shall sleep without the dream of what I was, and would be still, dark as to thee my deeds may seem. My memory now is but the tomb of joys long dead, my hope their doom. Though better to have died with those than bear a life of lingering woes, my spirit shrunk not to sustain the searching throes of ceaseless pain, nor sought the self-accorded grave of ancient fool and modern knave. Yet death I have not feared to meet, and the field it had been sweet, had danger wooed me on to move the slave of glory, not of love. I braved it, not for honor's boast. I smile at laurels won or lost. To such let others carve their way, for high renown or hireling pay. But once again before my eyes aught that I deem a worthy prize. The maid I love, the man I hate, and I will hunt the steps of fate to save or slay as these require, through rending steel and rolling fire. Nor needest thou doubt this speech from one who would but do what he hath done. Death is but what the haughty brave, the weak must bear, the wretch must crave. Then let life go to him who gave. I have not quailed to danger's brow when high and happy. Need I now? I loved her, friar, nay, adored. But these are words that all can use. I proved it more in deed than word. There's blood upon that tinted sword, a stain its steel can never lose. 'Twas shed for her who died for me. It warmed the heart of one abhorred. Nay, start not, no, nor bend thy knee, nor midst my sins such act record. Thou wilt absolve me from the deed, for he was hostile to thy creed. The very name of Nazarene was wormwood to his Paynim spleen. Ungrateful fool, since but for brands well wielded in some hardy hands, and wounds by Galileans given, the surest path to Turkish heaven. For him his hours still might wait impatient at the prophet's gate. I loved her. Love will find its way through paths where wolves would fear to prey. And if it dares enough, 'twere hard if passion met not some reward, no matter how, or where, or why. I did not vainly seek nor sigh, yet sometimes with remorse, in vain I wish she had not loved again. She died. I dare not tell thee how, but look, 'tis written on my brow. There read of Cain, the curse and crime, in characters unworn by time. Still, ere thou dost condemn me, pause, not mine the act, though I the cause. Yet did he but what I had done, had she been false to more than one. Faithless to him, he gave the blow, but true to me, I laid him low. Howe'er deserved her doom might be, her treachery was truth to me. To me she gave her heart, that all which tyranny can ne'er enthrall, and I, alas, too late to save, yet all I then could give, I gave, 'twas some relief, our foe a grave. His death sits lightly, but her fate has made me what thou well mayest state. His doom was sealed, he knew it well, warned by the voice of stern to hear, deep in whose darkly boding ear the death-shot pealed of murder near, as filed the troop to where they fell. He died too in the battle broil, a time that heeds nor pain nor toil, one cry to Muhammad for aid, one prayer to Allah all he made. He knew and crossed me in the fray. I gazed upon him where he lay, and watched his spirit ebb away. Though pierced like pard by hunter's steel, he felt not half that I now feel. I searched, but vainly searched to find the workings of a wounded mind. Each feature of that sullen course betrayed his rage, but no remorse. Oh, what had vengeance given to trace despair upon his dying face? The late repentance of that hour, when penitence hath lost her power to tear one terror from the grave, and will not soothe, and cannot save. The cold incline are cold in blood. Their love can scarce deserve the name, but mine was like a lava flood that boils in Etna's breast of flame. I cannot prate, pulling strain of lady love and beauty's chain, if changing cheek and searching vein, lips taught to writhe but not complain, if bursting heart and maddening brain, and daring deed and vengeful steel, and all that I have felt and feel betoken love, that love was mine, and shown by many a bitter sign. 'Tis true, I could not whine nor sigh, but I knew but to obtain or die. I die, but first I have possessed, and come what may, I have been blessed. Shall I the doom I sought upbraid? No, reft of all, yet undismayed, but for the thought of Layla slain. Give me the pleasure with the pain, so would I live and love again. I grieve, but not my holy guide for him who dies, but her who died. She sleeps beneath the wandering wave. Ah, had she but an earthly grave, this breaking heart and throbbing head should seek and share her narrow bed. She was a form of life and light that, seen, became a part of sight, and rose where'er I turned mine eye, the morning star of memory. Yes, love indeed is light from heaven, a spark of that immortal fire with angels shared by Allah given, to lift from earth our low desire. Devotion wafts the mind above, but heaven itself descends in love, a feeling from the Godhead called, to wean from self each sordid thought. A ray of him who formed the whole, a glory circling round the soul. I grant my love imperfect, all that mortals by the name miscall. Then deem it evil what thou wilt, but say, oh say hers was not guilt, she was my life's unerring light, that quenched what beam shall break my night? Oh, would it shone to lead me still, although to death or deadliest ill. Why marvel ye, if they who lose this present joy, this future hope, no more with sorrow meekly cope, in frenzy then their fate accuse, and madness do those fearful deeds that seem to add but guilt to woe. Alas, the breast that inly bleeds hath naught to dread from outward blow. Who falls from all he knows of bliss, cares little into what abyss. Fierce as the gloomy vultures now to thee, old man, my deeds appear. I read abhorrence on thy brow, and this too was I born to bear. 'Tis true that, like that bird of prey, with havoc have I marked my way. But this was taught me by the dove to die, and know no second love. This lesson yet hath man to learn, taught by the thing he dares to spurn. The bird that sings within the brake, the swan that swims upon the lake, one mate and one alone will take, and let the fool still prone to range, and sneer on all who cannot change, partake his jest with boasting boys. I envy not his varied joys, but deem such feeble heartless man less than yon solitary swan. Far, far beneath the shallow maid he left believing and betrayed. Such shame at least was never mine. Layla, each thought was only thine. My good, my guilt, my weal, my woe, my hope on high, my all below. Earth holds no other like to thee, or if it doth, in vain for me. For worlds I dare not view the dame resembling thee, yet not the same. The very crimes that mar my youth, this bed of death, attest my truth. 'Tis all too late. Thou wert, thou art, the cherished madness of my heart. And she was lost, and yet I breathed, but not the breath of human life. A serpent round my heart was wreathed, and stung my every thought to strife. Alike all time, abhorred all place, shuddering I shrink from nature's face, where every hue that charmed before the blackness of my bosom wore. The rest thou dost already know, and all my sins and half my woe. But talk no more of penitence. Thou seest I soon shall part from hence, and if thy holy tale were true, the deed that's done, canst thou undo? Think me not thankless, but this grief looks not to priesthood for relief. My soul's estate in secret guess, but wouldst thou pity more, say less. When thou canst bid my Layla live, then will I sue thee to forgive. Then plead my cause in that high place where purchased masses proffer grace. Go, when the hunter's hand hath wrung from forest cave her shrieking young, and calm the lonely lioness. But soothe not, mock not my distress. In earlier days and calmer hours, when heart with heart delights to blend, where bloom my native valley's bowers, I had, have I now a friend? To him this pledge I charge thee send, memorial of a youthful vow. I would remind him of my end. Though souls absorbed like mine allow brief thought to distant friendships claim, yet dear to him my blighted name. 'Tis strange, he prophesied my doom, and I have smiled. I then could smile. When prudence would his voice assume and warn, I recked not what the while. But now remembrance whispers o'er those accents scarcely marked before. Say that his bodings came to pass, and he will start to hear their truth and wish his words had not been sooth. Tell him, unheeding as I was, through many a busy bitter scene, of all our golden youth had been, in pain my faltering tongue had tried to bless his memory ere I died. But heaven in wrath would turn away, if guilt should for the guiltless pray. I do not ask him not to blame, too gentle he to wound my name, and what have I to do with fame? I do not ask him not to mourn, such request might sound like scorn, and what than friendship's manly tear may better grace a brother's bier? Bear this ring, his own of old, and tell him what thou dost behold, the withered frame, the ruined mind, the rack by passion left behind, a shriveled scroll, a scattered leaf, seared by the autumn blast of grief. Tell me no more of fancy's gleam. No, Father, no, 'twas not a dream. Alas, the dreamer first must sleep. I only watched and wished to weep, but could not, for my burning brow throbbed to the very brain as now. I wished but for a single tear, as something welcome, new and dear. I wished it then, I wish it still. Despair is stronger than my will. Waste not thy orison. Despair is mightier than thy pious prayer. I would not, if I might, be blessed. I want no paradise, but rest. 'Twas then, I tell thee, Father, then I saw her. Yes, she lived again. And shining in her white samar, as through yon pale grey cloud, the star which now I gaze on as on her, who looked and looks far lovelier. Dimly I view its trembling spark. Tomorrow's night shall be more dark, and I, before its rays appear, that lifeless thing, the living fear, I wander, Father, for my soul is fleeting towards the final goal. I saw her, friar, and I rose, forgetful of our former woes, and rushing from my couch, I dart and clasp her to my desperate heart. I clasp. What is it that I clasp? No breathing form within my grasp, no heart that beats reply to mine. Yet, Layla, yet the form is thine. Art thou, dearest, changed so much as meet my eye, yet mock my touch. Oh, were thy beauty's air so cold, I care not. So my arms unfold the all they ever wished to hold. Alas, around a shadow pressed, they shrink upon my lonely breast. Yet still 'tis there, in silence stands, and beckons with beseeching hands, with braided hair and bright black eye. I knew 'twas false, she could not die, but he is dead. Within the dell I saw him buried where he fell. He comes not, for he cannot break from earth. Why then art thou awake? They told me wild waves rolled above the face I view, the form I love. They told me 'twas a hideous tale. I'd tell it, but my tongue would fail. If true, and from thy ocean cave thou comest to claim a calmer grave, oh, pass thy dewy fingers o'er this brow that then will burn no more, or place them on my hopeless heart. But shape or shade, whate'er thou art, in mercy ne'er again depart. Or farther with thee bear my soul than winds can waft or waters roll. Such is my name, and such my tale. Confessor, to thy secret ear I breathe the sorrows I bewail, and thank thee for the generous tear this glazing eye could never shed. Then lay me with the humblest dead, and, save the cross above my head, be neither name nor emblem spread by prying stranger to be read, or stay the passing pilgrim's tread. He passed, nor of his name and race hath left a token or a trace, save what the Father must not say who shrived him on his dying day. This broken tale was all we knew of her he loved, and him he slew. So ends Byron's fragment, but its echoes still bleed through the veil. The Giaour walks, soul unshriven, chained by wrath, gnawed by memory. Tell me, sweet seeker, what did you think of the Giaour's fate? I invite you to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Cicero thinks he got what he deserved. As for me, I never argue with a man wearing blood for a smile. The library is ever hungry and accepts offerings through Patreon and Coffee. Those who know where to look will always find the vaults. There are so many stories yet to tell, some that bite, some that devour, and some that never let go. So, until next time, be careful what you love. It just might be the death of you.